O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
Come on in to Toyota of Hollywood, where curiosity and extraordinary deals await you. Your golden ticket buys a 2025 Corolla, not $26,000, $17,988. And we've got sweet deals with 0% financing for 72 months, 0 down. Enter our world of wonder, and we'll show you why we're the #1 volume Toyota dealer. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649. Or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 18 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new Acura RDX. Only $399 a month during our 18th anniversary sale.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help.
The Memorial Day event starts now at Florida's #1 volume Subaru store, Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy a new Subaru today with financing as low as 0% APR, or lease a new Crosstrek for just $158 a month. Shop SPPLove.com.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
On most
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls. Hope you all are doing well. You made it. It's a Friday. It's June 19th. Now you get the weekend, get to relax, I start today my Father's Day weekend. Because normally it's just like we go to dinner or something, whatever. My daughter I am waiting for a big ass TV to be installed. So, there's going to be some fun World Cup watching today. I would imagine that my new TV will be installed by the USA game. Although I'm contemplating because I have the movie pass. So I'm really thinking of going to the movies because Regal, for those of you, I don't know if anybody has the pass because that's the best thing there is, $25 a month, and you go to an unlimited amount of movies. But anyway, the beauty is at 3, they're carrying the USA game. I'm thinking maybe I go over to the theaters and I watch it in an even bigger screen. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm just getting a new TV today. Although I'll watch some movies or something today, or I'll be plenty of stuff. So I'm in a dilemma. What do? Do I go to the theater to go watch the game? Because that's like a cool feature to go watch the game at the theater. It's actually pretty cool. Although no Pulisic today. He hasn't practiced the whole week. So all of a sudden you're going to play him. You won the first game. You have kind of a luxury right now. It's not like it's a given or anything, but you should be good enough to either beat or tie with Australia. All right. Hopefully you don't lose, even without Pulisic. And you're better saving him for the next game. The guy hasn't practiced all week. There's this whole day-to-day shit. And everything. The coach yesterday came out and said, well, if we're getting closer, if he's not ready to go this week, then he'll be ready to go next week. And I think that's kind of what it is. It just kind of keep the opponent guessing BS crap. But he hasn't practiced. He's your best player. You won the first game. Common sense says you're going to hold him out right now. Calf injuries are very dangerous. I don't think I need to tell most of you out there that have been following sports for a long time. Calf injuries are things that you don't mess with. You got to make sure it's like a hammy. You better make sure they're good to go because it will become a real problem for you, debilitating. It will lead to a bigger injury, calf and hamstring injuries. That's usually the way it goes. Those are very sensitive injuries. You have to be careful with those, and especially with a soccer player. It sucks, but my bet would be that Pulisic does not play today. USA is minus 170 on the money line. Australia is plus 425 on the money line. So we'll see what happens. What should I do out there? Should I stay home with the new TV and watch it at 3:00? Or do I go right to the theater? Remember, I'm really not buying a ticket. I have the pass. So you got to think of it that way. I'm not paying like whatever it would be, $12, $15 or whatever it is to watch it. I'm not doing that. Okay. So you have to remember that luxury I have just in case. Don't compare it. No money involved really in the whole thing. So what do I do? How many World Cups? Okay, I got a chance to go to the theater to watch. I think it's kind of cool, right? Dolphin Dave says go to the theater already. Yeah. Daniel says Telemundo is the best way to watch for commentary. Has no seat. Well, if you speak Spanish, dude, of course, But if you don't habla it, bro, it's not going to be the same for you. You're not going to understand it. You're just going to, as an Anglo, you'll just trip out on the goal. And you'll be sitting there going, oh, that dude really goes forever. That's kind of that'll be the novelty for an Anglo listening to the Spanish broadcast. It's, okay, camera at Babes on the sidelines, automatic. Right. And then the other thing is the whole goal thing. Let's hear it. Look, let's time it. What do you think? 30 seconds? a minute and 10, that kind of stuff. That's all they're doing. They're like betting on how long he'll go on the goals. And they're pissed off because they're waiting because no goals are happening, so the guy can't sing goal, so the bet can't happen. That's what's going to happen. See? That's all. I just previewed it. So you got to be, Hispanic in order to, enjoy what you're talking about overall. But hopefully they'll get it done today. That would be really, really cool. All right, folks, don't forget, please smash the hell out of the like button whenever you're watching the show. We appreciate you immensely, as always. We got Furones joining us. We got Manny Navarro joining us. And I got to tell you something. I have changed my ways here on the Sorsby thing. I've been telling you, hey, the Dolphins should put in a 4th rounder. Well, I'm out. I'm done with that. No way. Dolphins should put in a 3rd rounder. That's what I'm saying now. Dolphins should put in a 3rd rounder from Brendan Sorsby. A team that's gotten one quarterback in 59 years by luck because it fell to them on cocaine rumors and 19 interceptions his senior year. And the NFL took 5 quarterbacks before it. That's the only reason why in 59 years we've gotten lucky with one guy. You think I'm going to wait till next year and assume I get the number 1 spot? I'm a Dolphins fan. You know what happens to a person like me, a Dolphins fan? The Dolphins win 5 games. They don't get the number 1 pick. They drop to the 7th pick. They don't really have a shot at a sexy quarterback. Malik Willis was really didn't turn the corner, and I didn't end up with anything. That's what happens to a guy like me, which is a guy or a girl like you. Anyway, so that's my experience. My experience is, 2nd rounder for Culpepper and 2nd rounder for A.J. Feely, and let's bring in Jim Druckenmiller, and let's sign Jay Fiedler off the Jags. We failed in trading for Matt Hasselbeck. Oh, no, we're going to use Woodstock one year because we don't have a quarterback. We'll use 2 quarterbacks. I mean, I've been through everything. So I'm telling you, the Dolphins next year have 9 picks. They have 2 5th-rounders, 1 from the Minka trade. They have 2 7th-rounders from the Darren Waller trade. I'd give up a 3rd-rounder for Brendan Sorsby. I don't even know if I'll win. I've told you already I'd 4th, and I'm expecting to fail. I'm going 3rd, and I'm still expecting to fail. But I want to take a chance. I want to bring in a guy. I want to bring in as many arms as possible. And if it's only going to cost me a 3rd, if it happens, I don't know. Because I've told you, if I'm the Steelers, I'm ready to give up a 3rd rounder. For sure. I'll give you a couple things since, checking out things around the league. There's a guy that you and I know. His name is Dan the Man Campbell. Campbell put it out there. He says he doesn't rule out a Brendan Sorsby move. How do you like that? Not at all. Think about this. He says, all I can tell you is that we look at everything. Says General Manager Brad Holmes looked at everything, and so nothing is off the docket. So our eyes are open. Doesn't mean we will make a move or we won't. When you look at their current quarterback, Jared Goff, they gave him a 4-year extension in 2024. So we're 2 years into that extension. He'll sit this year. That'll be the third year. Next year, the fourth year, that'll be his second year. And then after that, the kid can start. You can actually groom him the way the Rams are doing for the next year or two. You're going to tell me that the Detroit Lions wouldn't use a third-round pick on that guy? Maybe even a second-rounder? Definitely a third. That's why I'm thinking now the fourth, we're out of it anyways. We're not going to – there's no shot the Dolphins get him in the fourth. So I'm up to a third now. I'm up to a third. And there are teams out there that can take the chance on the guy easily in the third or fourth rounds. Easy. Maybe even second. I'll give you another one that is very interesting. And I've been talking about this one for a couple of weeks now because, as you all know, I'm not the biggest believer. So I'm kind of looking forward to the chaos, which then leads to somebody taking a chance and then the cigar blowing up in their faces. And that's Lamar Jackson. And he's got his contract going on. Now, Jeff Zerbick from The Athletic made it known that he was optimistic that the club and the star quarterback would come to terms with a contract extension before the 2026 season gets underway. That was months before, right? Now, that the March story claimed that the Ravens general manager, Eric DeCosta, was having trouble getting to Jackson to answer the phone to work out an extension. An SI article published on Thursday said Jason La Canfora hinted that DeCosta isn't any closer to locking Jackson down than the executive was in the closing days of winter. DeCosta has grumbled some publicly and all the time privately about the difficulty they've had getting Jackson, who represents himself, on the phone and engaged in contract talks, La Canfora said. So when he's in your building in weeks on end and you get nowhere with him at an incredibly pivotal time, and then he's back traveling and going to Miami and then reporting for camp and football, which means no more contract talks, then he just might be running out the clock and checkmating the front office again. And so I've been telling you about this because they are, and this, listen to how it gets a little hairier for their situations. If the Ravens didn't want to give Jackson then $250 million guaranteed prior to all of this, well, they're not going to love $60 million a season because Mahomes is making $64 million a year from 2027 on, and that doesn't help him, says La Canfora. The Ravens missed an essential window a year ago when Josh Allen got his long-term extension. DeCosta threw it off and said at the time that he would have much more time to work on it in the following offseason. Training camp has come fast. The offseason is getting thin, and the best time an audience with Jackson, especially in person, ended last week without any major developments. If you're the Ravens and you know you've got issues with Lamar Jackson because his cap number, I believe it's like $75 or $80 million next year. It's a number that they cannot carry. So they will have to move him right away. And that means this would be his last year there. So don't you take a chance on Sorsby in the second or third round if you're the Baltimore Ravens? I mean, all of a sudden, if you start looking around the league, and one of the things that I've talked about constantly is it's a QB desperate league. We're not talking about a rapist. We're not talking about a guy that's assaulting people. We're not talking about a guy that is a career criminal. He made a bunch of bets. He's got a gambling problem, okay? You got to try to fix that. And hopefully it's just all immaturity and he grows out of it and all that kind of stuff. But as a quarterback in that league, you take bigger chances by giving a quarterback $99 million to walk away. Anybody? So you're going to give $99 million to a guy to walk away. By the way, they did the same thing in Denver, gave him a boatload of money to walk away. But you're not willing to spend a middle round pick on a quarterback that could end up becoming a starter for you? As a Dolphins fan that has not seen a quarterback succeed here in decades, I am the fishnet approach guy. Any chance I get to get a quarterback, I'm going to try to get a quarterback. And if it's not going to cost me a first, and I gave a second rounder for A.J. Feely, and I watched my favorite team give up a second rounder for Dante Culpepper. Yeah, dude, no, I'm gonna take this chance. And I don't even think they'll score with the third rounder. I think there might be somebody that'll beat you in it early third or even a second rounder. Because there are other scenarios around. You're Arizona. You have no quarterback. You have two jabronis. You have a porn stash and a jabroni. Why wouldn't Arizona take a second or third rounder on Sorsby? I can just bounce around the league and start to look at different situations and say, well, why wouldn't you? If you're this team that has no quarterback or a bad one, why wouldn't you take that chance? And there's, I read where they think even up to 25 teams will be looking and assessing him. Oh, and the other thing, they're going to, I saw this on Pro Football Talk, the way they're going to do the supplemental draft, it's not purely by draft order. It's kind of, but it's in a different way. The way they're going to do it now is that the teams that won 6 or fewer games, Jets, Bengals, Browns, Titans, Chiefs, Raiders, Commanders, Giants, Saints, Cardinals, they will be in that first pool, and then they will get arranged by their records and wins and all that kind of stuff. Then the teams that won 7 or more games. You see, I'm a Dolphins fan. Dolphins, Ravens, Colts, Cowboys, because we always find ourselves in the middle. Never, always better than the scrubs, but never good enough than the elite. And that's kind of where we find ourselves. And even in this, we're behind the 8 ball because we're in the second tier of the whole thing. So the second tier is Dolphins, Ravens, Colts, Cowboys, Vikings, Lions, Buccaneers, Falcons. And then the 2025 playoff teams, Patriots, Bills, Steelers, Jaguars, Texans, Broncos, Chargers, Eagles, Bears, Packers, Panthers, Seahawks, Rams, and Niners. Within each group, the NFL will conduct a weighted lottery to determine the precise order. Then the top to bottom priority will be set. Okay, so we're in the second group of that weighted lottery, which we could end up whatever. And you know our luck, we'll be in the back end of it. We'll get the bad bounce because that's what happens to us. So I've changed my mind now. Now I'm ready to give up a third rounder for Brendan Sorsby. And I don't think that'll be enough. I still think the Dolphins will be outbid. But I got to try. If I am John Eric Sullivan, I've got to try, and I've got to put my ego aside. And so do some of you out there that think, well, those guys were around him and all that. That's a whole bunch of bullshit. Okay? That's a bunch of crap. They didn't see enough to really know. Nobody has seen enough to really know about Malik Willis. Don't pass up every opportunity you can. And this will stop you. This will not stop you at all at having the top pick in the draft. Unless Brendan Sorsby ends up playing this year and ends up playing really well. But I don't think Malik Willis is going to play you out of one of the top picks of the draft. I don't think this talent is going to play you out of one of the top picks in the draft. But then again, I am a Dolphins fan, so I could see them winning 5 games and screwing everything up. And then what? And if you had a shot at Sorsby and you didn't get him, and now you don't have a shot at Arch, and Willis is not the guy, where do you stand? I'm taking a chance. I'm up in the bid to a third rounder if I'm the Miami Dolphins. That's what I am doing, ladies and gentlemen. After watching what's going on around the league, yeah. There may be teams that might be as desperate or more desperate or smart in planning ahead and giving up. I mean, look at the way the Rams do it, and that's because their front office is exceptional and they draft very well all throughout the draft. And they find guys that other teams don't find in the middle to late rounds on a consistent basis. So Les Snead and company have been kicking some serious ass, but we don't know if we haven't had that here ever. Until we have that, we won't know. And until you have that, you need to do these kind of things like take a chance. It's worth it. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You give me your opinions on it. You can send in your questions, comments, insults there. As always, we appreciate it here on June 19th or Juneteenth, as they say. Let's see what else. By the way, where is the great Bitcoin? It's at 63,000. All right. Today is day number 19,150 since the Miami Dolphins were world champions. The Miami Hurricanes, today is day number 8,933 since they were national champions. And the Miami Heat, today is day number 4,746 since they were world champions. And we got to talk a little bit about that situation too going on. All right. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. The one and only Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. Custom printing and embroidery. If your company, corporation needs it, give them a ring. You can do all of that by Zoom and email, and they can have it shipped to you right away. 786-618-1443. Ask for Alan Blanco. He'll probably answer. Today at 3 o'clock, USA takes on Australia. Don't expect Pulisic. He hasn't practiced all week. I don't think he'll end up playing. That'll be my guess on that one. They have him listed as day-to-day and all that stuff, but he hasn't practiced. I don't think you throw him out there. USA's minus 170 on the money line. Australia's plus 425 at 6 o'clock. Scotland taking on Morocco. Plus 500 for Scotland. Morocco's minus 155 at 8:30. Brazil, they will take on Haiti, and obviously they're the heavy favorites, minus 1,100. Haiti is plus 2,000 on the money line if you want to take a real crazy bet there. Turkey is plus 105 against Paraguay. Paraguay is minus 275. Yesterday, Czechia and South Africa played to a 1-1 draw. Switzerland defeated Bosnia-Herzegovina 4-1. Canada had a field day on Qatar, 6-0. In that one, by the way, Jonathan David had a hat trick, but unfortunately, Ismail Cohn, the midfielder, broke his leg, and that was sad, dude. That was sad. That's a tough loss for them. Mexico defeated South Korea. I told you it was going to be a tough one. 1-0. I was watching that game. I think they scored like in the 74th minute or something like that, or I forgot, maybe 50-something minute. Yeah, maybe 57 or 60. I forgot what it was. But only goal of the game. I figured South Korea would give Mexico some problems in that one. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. All right. Pat says, before you leave the house, make sure your pass includes the World Cup games. I made that mistake once on my annual pass on a concert venue. Let me see. I could probably do it right now. I could probably just purchase the ticket and get my situation done. Let me see. Right here. Let's see. Thank you for looking out on that one. I like how all the middle seats are already taken. Yeah, no, it's included. Let's see. Oh, no. Good call by you. No. They want to charge me $10. Oh, It's 85. It's an 85-inch screen for me, baby. You settled it right there. How about that? You settled it right there. Love it. Thank you, Pat, for looking out. I would have gotten all jacked and all that. Yeah, I'm not paying. No. That's the idea of the pass. I'm going to take advantage of the freebie. That's not a freebie. Anyway, by the way, our friends at Acura Pembroke Pines, we were there last Friday. The 18th anniversary sale is going on right now. You can get the 2026 Integra, $239 a month. They will waive your first payment, $450, up to $450. They will waive it. The ADX, second year of this model, beautiful vehicle, $289 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The RDX, got one right outside the door there. My wife drives it every day for the last 16 years. $399 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The MDX, you can get the 2026 model. This is a joke. $499 a month. They will waive your first payment up to $1,000. Get on down there. Make sure you tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you at 15601 Pines Boulevard. It is Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. All right. Jaybird is in the house. USA. I love it. Alexis Palazuela, Stephen Harris, Cosa Nostra. Going for World Cup boys. Big Johnson. There we go. Oscar NorCal is in. You know who's also in? David Furones is in with our Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
How you feeling, my brother? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. Another Friday in the off season. Yeah, man, feeling good. How are you?
Excellent. Cannot complain. I will tell you this. They have started scouring around what's going on in the NFL. And I could see the Pittsburgh Steelers getting into poker and saying, we're going to put in a third rounder. I could see a place like the Baltimore Ravens that have not been able to lock down Lamar Jackson on any kind of contract talks whatsoever. And now he's got like an $80 million number next March that they cannot absorb, and they need to negotiate. And if they don't, that means they're going to part ways with him. I can see them saying, maybe we throw a third rounder in there. The Detroit Lions, I saw where Dan Campbell says nothing is off the table. And I went to look at it. In 2024, they gave their quarterback a 4-year contract extension. Well, they're a couple of years into that extension now. And Sorsby wouldn't play in that first year anyway. And they probably have a decent backup as it is, so they can give them that 1 year. And in the second year, that's towards the end of their starter's contract. They can start to, groom the next guy. There's a lot of situations out there. The Arizona Cardinals have a jabroni and a porn stash at quarterback. Who's to say they don't say second, third rounder, fourth rounder, whatever for Brendan Sorsby. I read where even 25 teams could be looking into him. I was saying a fourth rounder and expecting to lose. I'm the Miami Dolphins. I am now raising the kitty up to a third rounder for Brendan Sorsby. What do you think about that, youngin?
Well, I don't think just because other teams are willing to go higher in their draft order to go, I don't think you need to go change your conviction. So if I hear all that, and I pretty much think, okay, so the Dolphins will end up sitting this one out. Is my opinion. I could be wrong, and who knows? Maybe they go jump up and go make a competitive pick for him. But I just wouldn't see it, especially if he comes into the NFL with some off the field issues. And one of the key things that John Eric Sullivan and Coach Hafley, Jeff Hafley, are trying to establish here is a culture. Then that wouldn't be the guy I bring in, especially when, on top of that, picks are so valuable to this team in a rebuild as they're trying to get younger and cheap, where they kept trading to acquire more picks. It started with 8, and then they just kept on tacking on, whether it be a player like Jalen Waddle, whether it be picks moving down to then turn into more picks, like when they move down one spot. So the number of picks is very valuable to this regime. So I wouldn't see them using one to go and take a chance on another quarterback, which, hey, he could be a really good one. But you took a shot on one quarterback you're bringing in. So I wouldn't see it. The only thing that maybe gives me a little bit of thought that they could go for it is that they didn't take one in the draft in the middle rounds like I thought they might. So that could kind of replace your mid-round quarterback that you would have taken in this past draft if you do go and make a competitive bid for Brendan Sorsby.
So this is the team that gave $99 million to a quarterback to walk away. This is the team that gave up a second rounder for Dante Culpepper. This is the team that gave up a second rounder for A.J. Feely. And really, the pleasure of having A.J. Feely around was to have Heather Mitz around. That was really the only reason why I wanted A.J. Feely around, is because, he was hooked up with Heather Mitz, and she's a smoke show. So come on board, man. Let's go. Okay, all right. I mean, I've watched this team make blunder after blunder after blunder after blunder. Ryan Tannehill around for 7 years and overpaying him pretty much down the stretch every single year because the bum was never going to get you anywhere anyway. I just kind of find it weird that you've watched it, you've lived it, you've covered it now, and you're not willing to give up a middle round pick, which, by the way, with what I see brewing around, and typical Miami, they're in the second tier of the supplemental draft pool thing, which, they could get screwed even more and all of that. I don't even think a third rounder will win it, by the way. Not Miami's third rounder. I think there'll be somebody with a third rounder earlier than Miami, or they'll go second rounder. So I find it interesting that you are pretty much putting your faith in people that you don't know right now in John Erickson.
I mean, I've gotten to know them to some extent. I know where they come from. I know I'm thinking, is this a Green Bay Packers move? I feel like it would be a big risk to go up to, now we're talking even like second round. And then, I mean,
no, I didn't say second. I didn't say
just thinking,
I didn't.
Like, all right, now, but it could.
You need a mic, bro. You need a mic.
All right, I lost that. What was the last point you made? No. I need a speaker. I didn't hear your last point. Sorry, it froze on me.
You need a mic so you can get rid of that, and you had to have headsets because this is just it's constant, bro. It's constant. It's a bad connection because it's a bad setup. And it just doesn't allow us to go back and forth because you don't have any earpieces and you need a mic. So we're gonna have to get you a mic, dude. That's what we're gonna have to do.
It's more the connection
and the whole thing, and they can't go back and forth, and it just goes. And your what's that called? There's that echo in there, and there shouldn't be, and that's because you have no earpieces and you don't have a mic. You're going off the mic from the thing, and it's giving us that whole echo effect. But my point is, I didn't offer a second rounder. I'm saying, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm willing to risk a third rounder. Is my point. And You don't know these guys. Okay, Jimmy Johnson came over from Dallas. Did we get Dallas when he came over? Because he had no magic when it came to quarterbacks. He couldn't find a quarterback. His was John Dutton, Jim Druckenmiller, and Damon Heward. That was his, his legacy. But then again, Jimmy Johnson didn't want Troy Aikman. So it's not like he's a genius when it comes to quarterbacks anyway. You know what I'm saying? And we do know Jimmy Johnson, right? And yet, he couldn't find a quarterback if it bit him in the ass. I'm just saying, you don't know John Eric Sullivan. He's never been a general manager in his life. He's never made decisions in his life. And Hafley has never been a head coach in the NFL level either in his life. So putting faith in those guys is kind of tough right now when it's not a proven track record.
All right, so is your ultimate point that the Dolphins will make a poor decision based on the history, or that these guys will go for it because they should? So which one is it?
Oh, they should. I think if you're the Dolphins, no matter what the front office is, it's not a John Eric Sullivan thing. It's a Miami Dolphins thing. In 59 years, listen to me, in 59 years, the year after Greasy got here, okay? In 59 years, you have one quarterback that you got by luck. By luck. He was the 6th quarterback taken. He had 19 interceptions and partying and cocaine rumors going on, and that's why he dropped like a rock. If Don Shula was 15 spots ahead, he wouldn't have picked Marino. He might have taken Todd Blackledge. He might have taken Tony Eason. He might have taken another guy instead of Marino. So my point is, as a Dolphins fan and as a guy that's covered the Dolphins for 36 years now as a media member, all I've watched is failure at that quarterback position. And since I would like to take the fishnet approach to that position, any chance I get at getting a quarterback, if I don't have one, I'm going to go get one. And last time I checked, Malik Willis is not a proven one. Neither is the backup. Neither is the third stringer. So I'm going to go get as many quarterbacks as possible because I don't have one, because I never get one. And that's the way I'm going to look at it, because I don't know if they can find one. Because I know Dave Wanstead couldn't find one. I know that Nick Saban made the wrong decision on one. I know that Jimmy Johnson couldn't find one, right? So obviously everybody has failed. Chris Greer, everybody has failed to try to find a quarterback. That's all I know, my brother. So why wouldn't I tell the Dolphins, yeah, if you're the Dolphins, spend a 3rd round pick. Maybe you get him, maybe you don't, but I think you should at least try it because you're the Dolphins. That's it.
And when we do think of where they come from, John Eric Sullivan, they take shots at bringing in quarterbacks. So, and especially since they didn't get that shot in the draft, it's perceivable that they might. Yeah, I just wouldn't go to. I think of that draft capital, and it's going to be very valuable in 2027. That's going to be such a huge draft. So you have to be pretty convicted on the guy. You have to go through your whole scouting process. And really it comes down to how good you think he can be, how much of a prospect you think he will be, especially since he doesn't have this coming college season. It's who he is right now. You're still trying to project him, but you don't get, like a lot of people say, oh, he could have elevated himself to be a 1st round pick after this next season. Yeah, a lot of people are in that group. A lot of quarterbacks are in that mix where a great college year, and they're going to be in that mix. And shoot, even some guys who are thought to be right up there can ruin it with a bad game like Dante Moore when he goes and is completely missing in that national semifinal against Indiana, and then all of a sudden everyone's down on him, and he was going to be maybe a top 5 pick. He was going to be probably the 2nd quarterback taken. So a lot can change, and then you'll have to be very convicted right now on him as a quarterback prospect to make that determined of a bid. But it's a rushed process a little bit too. But it's one where you're only focused on him. You're not really looking at the whole quarterback draft class or scouting a lot of prospects. It's really just all eyes on him. Keep your focus here. Like, what do we see? And then make a decision. So, maybe they put in a semi-competitive bid, and then it's one that's kind of just like, all right, if it's all BS that's out there, that it's not really going to be that competitive, and then no one wants to take that big of a chance, it'll drop down to you, and all right, you landed a Brendan Sorsby at a bargain. But it seems like some teams are willing to go up higher, and it might not end up the Dolphins here.
Yeah, if they're willing to go up higher, then that kind of tells you something about what's going on and the kind of talent that he has. Because if you look at it, he's as skilled as anyone that's coming out in the draft next year, as anyone, dude. Maybe more skilled than everybody else. He's actually a better athlete than Arch Manning. Overall, he can run better than Arch Manning. Now, arm-wise, they probably got. I don't know. This kid's got a pretty good whip of an arm. That's what I'm just saying. That if he came back and he didn't have much of the gambling issues or anything, and he goes out and balls out, he was going to be a first rounder. If you get a first rounder in the second or in the third, and I'm just saying, throw a third out there if I'm the Dolphins. I get a second's kind of high, but I'm already thinking, we're seeing the landscape. The fourth rounder, you'll never get him. That's for sure. Fourth rounder is not going to get him. Try a third rounder if I'm the Dolphins. That's all I'm saying, dude. If they don't even try, that's the mistake, is what I would say, David. I can't tell you that if you don't get him, that's a mistake. But if you didn't try, then that's a mistake. And if he turns out to be something and Malik Willis doesn't, then it's also going to look bad on you too.
Yeah. Unless Quinn Ewers becomes something, then you're okay, because yeah, I guess, but yeah. I mean, but I don't see a difference in whether they try or not. It's just a matter of you get him or not, and he actively does something for your team, or you did not land him. So I don't look too much into the trying. I'll just look at that as, okay, that was the effort that was what they saw in Sorsby. That's where they valued him. Someone else valued him more. You don't have him. But I feel like the off the field issue will come into play if culture is indeed such a big thing to this regime.
All right. Follow him on Twitter, David Furones _. What do you got going on in the Sun Sentinel, folks?
Yeah, just wrote a feature on Greg Dulcich. So big opportunity for him as a guy who has developed some chemistry with Malik Willis, building off of last year's end of season momentum in the second half. And obviously a receiving core where you don't have a number one, so a lot could go to the tight end. So wrote about him, wrote about that new offensive lineman that they signed that had been with the Jets and Raiders after the Keon Smith cut. So make sure. Oh, and wrote a column about that Malik Willis's get to strap in for the Malik Willis roller coaster in 2026, because based on the 6 practices that I saw, mini camp, OTAs, that's what it's going to be. There's going to be some high highs, and then there's going to be some head scratching moments that made you wonder why you ever got on this ride. It'll all be there this season with Malik Willis, based on just the 6 practices that we saw. We'll see how things develop as we get more glimpses.
Don't forget Welton Rayom, 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage. And folks, we're in hurricane season right now. So if something happens to your condo, your home, your business, they've got their own adjusters. Never call the insurance companies. Call them first. And then they'll send their adjusters who are working for you. So they will assess the real damage and then go after the insurance company. You'll never have to deal with the insurance company, which is a huge headache lifted from you. 954-966-4646, and the consultation is free. Have a great weekend, my brother. We will catch up on Tuesday, my friend.
Sir, sounds good.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
All right. Don't forget, visit our friends at Caneswear. You can get 10% off. Use our code BIGO10, and you will get 10% off online or in person. See Brett and Jeff and Jack and all the great people out there. Ken Graff, amazing people out there, good people out there. Make sure you tell them that Big O sent you. They will definitely take care of you. I promise you that. All right. All right. There we go. Time to talk a little Miami Hurricanes with the one and only Manny I've.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 18 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new Acura RDX, only $399 a month during our 18th anniversary sale.
All righty. How you doing, my brother? How you feeling? You feeling good?
Feeling better, man. I've had a rough week. I've been a little sick here. I don't know if it was the exposure to the seaweed at the beach, man. I ended up taking my daughter to the beach earlier this week, and, man, the worst cough in the world. But I'm getting over it.
What is it, seagrassum or seagrassum or whatever?
I don't know what it is, man. But the girls wanted to go to the beach. They're on summer break. And we get there and it's covered in seaweed, and they're like, "Oh, what's this?" And I'm like, we shouldn't stick around." Yeah. But we stayed a couple hours so they could go in the water, and ever since then, man, I've had this terrible cough. But I'm recovering. I'm taking lots of medicine, hopefully feeling better soon.
Yeah, they're actually making houses out of that stuff.
Wow. Okay.
There's companies that have found ways to create bricks out of seagrassum, whatever the hell it's called.
Right.
And it's because it's obviously a real wasteful problem for a lot of the Caribbean countries and for ourselves here in Florida and in Texas, because we're caught in that current where it all comes from the Atlantic Ocean, and it's bullshit, unfortunately, but we all have to deal with it. We didn't get as much last year. It was more the West Coast actually ended up getting a lot of it, and it was really bothering them. We didn't get as much, but this time around we're getting it now. So it's kind of funky the way it all works out with the currents, and we end up getting it. Yeah, and you got to stay away from it because it's carrying all kinds of stuff with it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I learned my lesson, man. I'm gonna, tell them gotta go to the beach another time of the year, not this time of the year.
Yeah, it pollutes it, and then and it costs a lot of money to clean it all up and all that. So a lot of the Caribbean nations that live off of tourism, whether you're Antigua or St. Lucia or Barbados or whatever, that has to be part of your budget to be cleaning it constantly, because people come to vacation in your islands to constantly use it, and you've got to be fighting that. I'll give you a little tip. You never want to deal with it. There's something called the ABC Islands in the Caribbean. They're the only islands in the Caribbean. Do you know what the ABC Islands are?
I do not. It's just, you're teaching me here.
Aruba, Curacao, and is it
Barbados?
No. It's it's the smallest one of them all, and I'm trying to remember the damn name of it. But anyways, those three islands they're about 40 to 60 miles off of the coast of Nicaragua, right? Or is it Venezuela? No, it's Venezuela. And they're so low on the Caribbean front, they get no hurricanes, zero.
Wow.
Zero. Okay? Anything passes in front of them on their way to the Yucatan or whatever, it never goes through there. And all the seagrassum never goes there either, because they're not part of the current. that is caught up in the Caribbean. So they actually get very few inches of rain a year. In those islands there, Bonamine, I'm trying to remember the damn third name. In those islands, they got cactus. They got like open land. They don't have any tropical rainforest. Like if you go to other Caribbean islands, you go to Panama, Costa Rica, all that, you got rainforest in all of them. They have no rainforest there. Why? They don't get rain. They don't get rain, dude. Yeah,
it's a different. It's interesting. I've never been to any of those islands, so I got to go check it out.
Bonamine can somebody help me out there with the third island of the ABCs? And they're like, it's so low that they avoid all that stuff. How about that? How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
All right, quickly. Who's UM's competition this year? The main team that you would have to worry about in the ACC?
Oof, that's a good one. I think probably Louisville or SMU, because I think those coaches do such a good job offensively, right? In terms of finding guys every single year. I think Clemson's going to be down this year just because they haven't been recruiting at the same level they once were, and the portal, they still don't really utilize it the way they need to. So I would say Louisville or SMU, but I'm not 100% confident. It could be Cal as well. I think that coach is going to do a really good job in the next year or two in building that thing.
Yeah, I knew you weren't going to say Florida State Clemson. That's the funny part about it. All right, so Miami got a local kid, a safety. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, Andre Hippolyte became the latest blue chipper that they got over the weekend. He was the only recruit to come in, and so now, I mean, number 2 class in the country. They've got 19 commitments. They're basically done. I mean, they have everything that they need. I think if there was one thing you would say, what else do they want? If they can get another elite edge rusher, somebody to flip, that would probably be it, and they'd have 20 guys and they'd be completely happy. But they're basically done with recruiting. In fact, they had an elite camp this week where they brought in a bunch of 2028 guys that they're after from all over the country to hang out with their elite 2027 guys who are already committed. So I thought this was like a brilliant move by Mario. Who's obviously an elite recruiter, and him and Mirabal and all the guys, they know exactly what to do. But I thought, having all of these 2028 guys hang out with all these 2027 guys here towards the end of the summer window was a really smart move. And look, this is a different level now. I told you this a couple years ago. When Miami starts getting the number 1 player at every position, that's when recruiting is where it needs to be, because that's the way Mario operates. He wants the number 1 guys at every single position that he can get every single year. He invests tons of hours and time. They weren't there yet until they went on this run last year and made it to the national championship game, where all of a sudden now it looked legit to a lot of these recruits. And so this Hippolyte guy, one of the best safeties in the country here in South Florida, sometimes those guys would leave. They'd go to, Texas A&M or Notre Dame or Alabama or Georgia, and now they're invested because they see that this is real.
Joe Echeverria, I saw the interview with Rose on it. And he was talking about how, they're always going to be on top and stay elite and all that, and that they'll be attractive for the next time that there is, some conference realignment or anything like that. And to me, that's the stuff that we've been wanting to hear for many, many years, and now they're doing it literally. And what he said was 100% right. As long as they stay relevant like they are now, and they're one of the best teams in the country, and the ratings are through the roof, everybody's going to want UM to be a part of the whole thing.
This was the goal. When they were going to get rid of Manny Diaz, and I went down and met up with some of their people to talk about what was going on in that process and how they were going to go after Mario. The whole point was, hey, by 2030, when the next round of realignment comes along, because all the TV contracts are going to be up, and the SEC and the Big Ten and the Super League and all that conversation is going to happen. This is back in 2019, mind you. This is looking 11 years ahead. They knew where they were in the ACC pecking order. The fact they hadn't won the conference yet, the fact they hadn't really been nationally relevant in a long time, they knew they had to make a move. And so what did they do? They went out and they spent all that money to get Mario because they believed he would be the guy that would take them to this level. And to this point, you have to give Joe Echeverria, the Moss brothers, who obviously have backed a lot of the financial spending and all that, and all the other people who give Miami a ton of money, credit for getting it right and finding the right guy to put them in a position to now be exactly what they wanted. And when they changed, school president, it was inevitable that Echeverria and all the people around were completely 100% behind making Miami, University of Miami, relevant for three things: their medical program, the hospital, all that kind of stuff, the football program, and the athletic program overall, making them nationally relevant again. And then, the rest of the school, the other things that they feel are important. So, but this was super important. They put football really high up there in terms of prioritizing it, and credit to them for having the vision, to put Miami into this position. And I'm telling you now, I don't know what's going to happen in college football. It's crazy every single year, right? What different things that are happening, the amount of change that's happened just in the last 5 years alone. But Miami's not getting left out of anything.
Yeah, no, I'm sure of it. And how successful was Elite Camp?
I think it was good. I mean, they had all these kids here from Utah. One of the Fano brothers, I think, one of the younger brothers was here. The one that was just drafted in the first round for Utah. So they're going into other parts of the country now, man, and becoming a force, right? Like Mario obviously spent a lot of time on the West Coast at Oregon and helping build that program up. Built a lot of good relationships, got some of those, younger guys that he targeted, like Maui Noah and so forth, that were out there originally. And we're able to sort of build the program with some of those pieces. But now he's sort of going back into those parts of the country, getting kids out of California, getting kids out of Utah and different places, and getting them to come here and say, hey, this is a national program now. They're recruiting at a Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State level. And that was not happening for a long time here. I know people would complain, oh, look at the recruiting classes. They're still ranked in the top 20. Why isn't the coach winning? Dude, there's a different level. There's essentially 100, 150 really good players every single year. Miami was maybe getting 1 or 2 of those guys a year. Now they're getting 8, 9, 10 of those guys every cycle. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, damn right. I mean, and you're getting the results now. All you got to do now is finish it off in the playoffs and get to that championship, and you're going to put yourself in, you're going to be forced to, I don't know, accept other guys that are going to be superstars that are going to want to come to your school, and you're going to have to figure out a way to get an extra scholarship somewhere or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, now with the 105, it makes it even easier. I mean, you ultimately can get a lot of these kids to just, hey, I'm going to sit out a year, right? Even though I'm an elite kid, because and that's something that those other programs have been doing for years, and getting, Alabama, Nick Saban had it rolled in that way for years, where they'd sign a 5-star guy, you wouldn't see him on the field for 2 years, and then the third year, all of a sudden, he's a beast, and you're like, wow, where did that guy come from? Well, he's been sitting on the bench for 2 years, and the old school way of development.
By the way, before I let you go, were you surprised how the Sorsby thing ended?
No, because there were a lot of unhappy people, right? I mean, there were at some point or another, I told you the Big 12 commissioner was going to have to put pressure because all the other schools in his conference were pissed off. And I just think the kid, could have easily entered the supplemental draft. That wasn't a problem for him, right? Somebody would probably take a chance on him, 5th or 6th round pick. Somebody will use that on him, and that's it. And he'll end up being on an NFL roster and have to make it that way. So it wasn't like he had no options. I think he has options, and so there was going to be a lot of pressure, and it ended the way it did. But it's what we're learning here in college football is stories are never going to die, brother. Things are going to keep twisting and turning, and people are going to make appeals and try to find the best avenue for their. Whereas before, we lived in that world where somebody like him would get busted for gambling and their career was over, and not the case anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right, what are you working on in The Athletic, my friend, so folks can check you out?
Yeah, hopefully I can finally get this piece done where, we're taking a look ahead to the next couple years, who's got the brightest future in college football for each program, not just, who's going to be good this year, but what the next 2 or 3 years look like roster-wise. So I've been sick most of this week, so I took some time off from the Athletic. They gave me some time to recover from this because I get really bad bronchitis and asthma, and so I've been resting for the most part, but next week it'll be coming out.
All right, man. Get some rest. Feel better, my brother.
Yeah.
And we will catch up next week, my friend. I appreciate you immensely.
No problem, man. Good talking to you.
You got it, man. There you go. The great Manny Navarro.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 18 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new Acura RDX. Only $399 a month during our 18th anniversary sale.
All right. Oh, man. All right. We thank our friends there at Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard. Go see my guy out there, Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone. They will definitely take care of you, man. Really, really good people. Don't forget, you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can send in your questions, comments, insults, all kinds of good stuff. We appreciate that immensely, as always. Thank you out there. All right. Oh, man. So let's see what we got. By the way, I can you stop doing out there, you NBA people and insiders? I don't even want the Giannis deal to happen, but if it happens, whatever, I get it. They're desperate and they're, whatever. They got pretty much nothing else to do now at this point. But please stop telling me that Kawhi Leonard and Trae Young are backup options. Please just don't, I'm trying to get to like 60 years old. I don't even know if I could get to 60 if you do that to me. Just acquire those guys. My God. Terrible. So LeBron is deciding between two teams. Reports say he either returns back to the Lakers or he goes to Golden State and joins Steph Curry. What is that, like a retirement home over there? Is that they're going in the wrong direction around Steph Curry? Let's keep Draymond Green around. Let's add Jimmy Butler, and now let's go bring in LeBron. This makes no sense. This is a different game. The pace to this game is different. You can't be with a whole bunch of old guys. The half-court game does not dominate, and you're on the West Coast, which has never really been half-court oriented. That was more of an East Coast thing back in the day. Now the whole game, period, East-West, it's all up and down, period. We're running and gunning constantly. Now this is the game Fat Lever was born to enjoy. Bunch of you youngins are like, how's anybody fat going to enjoy this? Ask your dad, grandfather, or somebody there. Anyway, education, folks. Education. You got to get young around Steph Curry. You're not supposed to get old. Now, they can only give him the $15 million exemption. The Lakers can max him out to 3 years, $182 million. They're not going to do that, but they could give him a lot more than $15 million a year. Then give him 20, 25. And clearly he loves the whole California thing and the family and all that. He'd only go to, up to San Francisco because you're not far away from Southern California, because it looks like that's where he wants to make his home permanently. And the family and all that is Southern California. But I find it weird that you're building a team that just gets older around Steph Curry. That doesn't make any sense. I don't mind you keeping Steph Curry. I've talked about this before. You did the right thing in letting go Clay, but you did the wrong thing in keeping Draymond Green. I was going to say Iguodala. You weren't supposed to keep Draymond Green. Stupid. And it was a stupid move for Butler. I'm happy for it because we got rid of the bum, but it was a stupid move. I said it then, and it turned out to be a stupid move because obviously his little, fragile body broke down again because his little fragile body always breaks down. What are you going to do? Now you're going to add LeBron James, whose body is also kind of wearing down now. About time. Weird how you would get older instead of younger in a game that requires you to be more younger. It's odd, dude. It's really, really odd. It doesn't make sense to me when I look at it. I don't care. I'm not a Warriors fan, but I'm just looking at it from afar, and it's like, yeah, it's some of the things we do here, and then I look at it like here they're talking about, hey, let's go get another 2-point player to pair him up with our 2-point player, and bam. Again, the math doesn't jive. Your top 2 players are 2-point players in a 3-point league. You in the West Coast, you're going to get older in a game that requires you to be younger because of the pace. They're all supposed to be really smart people. What's going on here? Right? You'd figure like the Heat was always a really smart organization, and then you're thinking like this now. Kosa says, do you need Sully and Halfley to come on to the Big O show and tell you personally they're rolling with Malik Willis? No, I know they're rolling, but I can tell them that it's a mistake, and that's all. Just like the Heat, Pat Riley doesn't come on, but I would have not signed Whiteside and Johnson and all that. I wouldn't have brought on Kyle Lowry. I actually wouldn't have made the Butler move too, to be quite honest. Or at least I would have gotten rid of him right after in the right time. But, I could disagree with a lot of things that they do. And most of the time I've been right about all the stuff that I've disagreed with. Dolphins are absolutely winning 5 games, Big O, says NorCal. I'll accept my blind ass fan. I need it. All right. You got it. Let's see who else is out there. Big O would give up a 2nd-round pick for that quarterback. We need one desperately. So, Dolphin Dave, you're going to give up a 2nd-rounder? Look at that. I get it, bro. I feel your pain. I'm a Dolphins fan. Let's see. What else? Brian says, now I have to go watch Sorsby's highlights. Oh, bet I'll be impressed. You check it out. Check out his abilities. 3rd rounder at least if I'm the Dolphins. That's all I'm asking. Put in a 3rd rounder just in case. Sorry, I'll pass. Look what happened to Calvin Ridley, who missed the entire 22 season after an indefinite suspension was levied against him for placing bets. Calvin Ridley was a good player, bro. But I don't know. I think that with Calvin, it could be a guy that bounces back, right? Or how bad were his stats? Let me see how bad was Mr. Ridley's stats here. Where are you at? Because he definitely has some skills. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. It fell off. Yeah, but he only played 7 games. He started 6. So but he had 1,016 the year before with 8 touchdowns, 1,017 with 4 touchdowns, 15.9 per catch. This past year, he only started 6 out of 7 games, had 17 receptions, 303 yards, 17.8 yards per catch. He actually did all right. He played on Tennessee, dude, with Ward. The problem is sometimes you guys comment on stuff and you really didn't do your homework on that. There's nothing wrong with Calvin Ridley, bro. He played on a horrible team last year. You weren't going to be catching 1,000 yards on that offense. That was one of the worst teams, or second, third worst team in the league. And it's not Cam Ward's fault. It's just it was a bad situation. You weren't going to fool anybody there, at that point. So I don't know, man. Kind of disagree with you there on Calvin Ridley. The guy has 3,000-yard seasons in his last 4 years before last year, playing on a shitty team that there was no way you're going to put up stats. I bet he puts up better stats this year because they drafted a receiver opposite of him, and they got a better offensive line. I bet you he has better stats. Yeah, your Calvin Ridley example was a bad one, unfortunately. Mexico was so lucky. If USA can come out and get a big win, we'll prove we're the most dangerous in the CONCACAF. Does that really... See, that's where the bar's too low. If we just want to be the big dogs of the CONCACAF, that's like being the valedictorian at summer school. Okay? As the late, great Mad Dog would say, rest in peace, Mad Dog. Ragin is in the house. Think Blue Dodgers. Gus 1388. The great Skylar Tipton. Juan Mendoza. Ragin says, Kyle Krabs said something on his show that there could be a Finns uniform change this season. Have you heard anything? Nope, haven't heard anything. Don't know anything about it. And to change the uniform, you have to file like a couple of years ahead of time to do that. There's been no word on that. And Marino said himself 2 years ago that the whale is what's it called? Stephen Ross's baby, and that he's not letting it go. So we're stuck with the whale. It is what it is. Get me a good team first, and then we can worry about the logo another time, I guess. Let's see, what else do we have here? Jamie Zorria, good morning to you out in San Jose. Thank you, sir. Smash that like button. Bonaire, thank you. Denard, thank you. Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Thank you, Bonaire. They don't get any hurricanes there at all. No, they don't get a lot of rain either, too. Let's see what else. It's really kind of amazing how they are completely away from the jet stream of the Caribbean. The Olden State Warriors think Blue Dodgers. I like that. The Olden State Warriors. Andrew says Kyle Lowry was a really bad move. God, yes. I ripped him for that move from the get-go. That was a terrible move, and I knew it was a terrible move. Mike Fox says, Arch Manning, from my mouth to God's ears. Have a great weekend, Big O. Thank you, my friend. I just want a quarterback, dude. And if I'm the Dolphins, I'm taking a chance on every quarterback possible that I can get. You know? That's just kind of the way it is. What can I tell you? All right. Let's see. What else do we have going on? Oh, I want to warn the people in Las Vegas. Okay? Just in case anybody's watching out there in Las Vegas. We have some friends out in Las Vegas. If you happen to have any minors, somewhere in your home, we want you to stash your minors and keep them away from the streets. Why do I tell you that? Well, Las Vegas is having its annual SAC Summit. Yes, sir. The SAC Summit is going to be there. It's going to happen in Las Vegas from July 9th to the 11th. And this year, Lawrence Taylor plans to go. So hide all the underage girls, underage prostitutes, stash them, hide them, keep them away. LT's in town. He used to sack quarterbacks. Now he sacks underage girls. I don't know. It's kind of been the whole thing, so look out there. By the way, I do find it funny. Not that Lawrence Taylor is attending the SAC Summit. I mean, the guy was great at sacking people. So this year, the people attending, I want you to follow me on this. Cowboys linebacker Rashawn Gary, Buccaneers defensive end College Cansey, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Probably not. Jaguars defensive end Josh Hines Allen. Jaguars defensive tackle Eric Armstead. Bengals defensive tackle Derek Lawrence. Cowboys defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. Jaguars defensive end Trayvon Walker. Buccaneers linebacker Reuben Bain, bitch. And Colts defensive end Laiatu Latu. Okay. There's one more. Panthers linebacker Jalen Phillips. Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm trying to understand this. Okay, this is the SAC Summit, correct? It's not the almost SAC Summit. I mean, if it was the almost SAC Summit, Jalen Phillips should be the key speaker of the entire place. No doubt about it. I mean, at the almost SAC Summit, that's the guy I want representing. That's the face of it. You got to do, and you can't do it in Las Vegas. You got to do it in Reno. Because Reno is almost Las Vegas. And since you own in the almost SAC Summit, we will hold that in Reno. The real SAC Summit, we'll hold it in Vegas because that's where the real SAC artists are. But when you're an almost SAC artist, should you be allowed at the SAC Summit? It's just kind of interesting that a guy that almost gets sacks gets invited to the SAC Summit. It's kind of strange. Just thought I'd bring it up. And again, hide the underage girls out there. LT's in town. Okay? I'm just saying. Just keeping it real here on the show. All right. Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. Somebody's there from the Almost Sack Summit. It's crazy. Morning. Oh, are we going to need a GoFundMe to get Furones a new mic? Yeah, no, we got to get him. Did you hear? You saw Manny after? He's got the headset. It's on. He's got the mic, and so yeah, I told him, bro, you got to get a mic already. I sent him a text. I said, yo, you got to get a mic, bro. You got to get a mic. You got to get a mic. Eric Kumaro should be at the Sack Summit. That guy was definitely a sack artist, right? Or the Almost Sack Summit. I don't know. Jeff Cross can be at the Sack Summit. That was a bad man. Jeff Cross could play football. That was good. Andrew is in Vegas. Home sweet home. Well, just all I'm saying, Andrew, from the 9th to the 11th, if you happen to have a daughter, keep her away from the strip. That's all I'm saying. Lawrence Taylor's on the loose. You know, when Lawrence Taylor's on the loose, yeah, it could be scary. It could be a really scary situation. Big O, since you've lived the era, which is the best Lakers versus Celtics series of the era, Bird versus Magic? I want to watch. God, I have to go back and think about that one. I'd have to think because there were so many. I'd get confused which one's which for which championship am I going with, which was the better of the whole thing when it ended. And I want to say it was like in the mid 80s when it happened. Is what I want to say. Mid 80s. By that time, I think both teams were fully loaded. I would probably go in that 85, 86, 87 range is where I would look at it. Something like that. Yeah. Somewhere in that era. And I'm just like kind of guessing a little bit right here, right now, because I have to go back and really look at the series and the different finals and all that. I have to think about that. That would require me to actually go back and look at it again a little bit to tell you that I can, off the top of my head, pick which exact year was the best year of that rivalry, of that whole thing. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Rosendo says the first series was a classic 84. Yeah. That would make sense. But I would go 85, 86, 87 because I think by then the Celtics had all their people. And then it was kind of loaded for both teams because the Lakers were freaking loaded, bro. They were great, dude. They had excellent talent coming off the bench and everything. When you can bring Michael Thompson off the bench, that's ridiculous. That's just stupid. You know, Byron Scott is, one of your role players. And it's just, and for Worthy to be the Batman to Magic's Robin, and then you got Kareem. It's just stupid, bro. Just stupid. And Cooper was one of the best perimeter defenders and can hit the three and all that. Cooper was one of the first 3-and-D guys in the history of the NBA. Like a specialist 3-and-D guy that we all talk about nowadays. Coop de Loop was one of those guys in the early days. He was probably the quintessential 3-and-D guy of that era, pretty much. Hot time of the year for sure. Stay inside, be at the pool with the Big O show and the headphones on. Yes, we definitely need that. What else do we have here? All right, what else? Oh, I saw this, and it shows you the situation with the Miami Heat has gotten worse over time. And we've talked about this, especially on this show, where you should have started your rebuild a couple of years ago, trading off Butler and so on and so forth, and getting under the cap and, getting away from aprons and clearing out all these salaries and being bad and going to the lottery and all that kind of stuff. Well, the Knicks, it's interesting. Dolan was asked about going to the second apron. And, because they've got three guys in Mitchell Robinson, Landry Shamat, and Jose Alvarado. And Alvarado has got a player option, which he probably will opt out. And they're $13 million away from the second apron. And he told the media yesterday that he thinks that they won't go to the second apron. And why not go to the second apron? And this is why I'm going to spin it back to the Heat. Okay. NBA teams across the second salary cap apron have severe roster and building transaction restrictions, including the loss of the mid-level exemption, which the Heat can use it now after they acquire Giannis, if they acquire him, the inability to aggregate contracts or use cash in trades, and the freezing of future first-round picks. I believe they freeze your first-round pick for up to 7 years, that you can't trade them. So it really restricts a lot of the movement that you can do. And right now, what the Knicks will have to do is be creative, that they lose some of their role players. They'll have to go find other guys that will fill that role, and they have to kind of have a great eye and find up-and-coming players that can kind of help you, which Bill Zito does that with the Panthers every year. He always has to kind of clear out a couple of the guys at the bottom end of the roster, and then there's a couple of guys that come in, that kind of stuff happens, like a Lamborghini is out, and then a Greer comes in and that kind of stuff, but you got to be able to find them. And Zito is able to find those kind of guys that they can find somebody that will fill their role, that who did well, but they'll find another guy that will fill the role and fill it in that salary slot. Because obviously he elevated himself. Now he's going to get paid more. You got no control over that. Can't do anything about that. You know what I'm saying? But if you're the Heat, this is where now you end up, trading for Giannis and re-signing him, and then with Bam and all that, and you put yourself right up there already. And you have no flexibility because you didn't start young. And you keep doing it the old way. And the old way just doesn't fly. And you're going to end up giving up a ton of your assets to acquire Giannis. And then what? What are you going to build around those guys? You know what I love also on top of all of this? That you have people in the media that are writing, well, they'll take the Heat's offer, or they'll hang on to him and then he'll leave next year and he'll sign with the Heat for free. That's fantastic. So now you're going to sign him a year later where he's a year older. Oh, and if you're Giannis Antetokounmpo, who breaks down constantly every year, what if you suffer a really serious injury next year? You won't be able to sign that big contract, and the Heat's not going to give you a big contract. So Giannis is going to want to make it happen this year. He can brag about saying, oh, well, I don't have to sign with anybody. Yeah, you don't, but you also have to risk your body. Your body that breaks down constantly, what if it breaks down? What if you suffered a broken leg and busted up ligaments? You think they're going to be lined up to give a 32-year-old who doesn't play the three-point game that much? No, they'll come to their senses next year if you suffer some kind of career-threatening injury. Those people that tell you that he's completely in the driver's seat, he is to a certain extent. But there's another part of him that's taking a big ass gamble. And the other thing, I don't want him now, but that's me. Why would I want him next year? A year older, more mileage. This story just gets worse and worse and worse, dude. That's all. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Anyway, please no Trey Young. I'm with you, my brother. I'm with you on that one. Big time. All right. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? Oh, let's do this. Let's do a little music. All right. Let's go to musicians born on June 19th. Let's start off with Ben Haggerty, known by his stage name of Macklemore, born in 1983. Brian Welch, guitarist with Korn, born in 1970. Apadapapa. Paula Abdul, born in 63. Simon Wright, drummer with AC/DC and also Dio, born in 1963. Dennis Fuller from the German-based English dance pop duo, the London Boys, born in 1960. Mark DeBarge from the singer and the family group DeBarge, born in 1959. To the rhythm of the night. The amazing Ann Wilson, the goddess. Artist sold over 35 million copies or records, that is, worldwide. Born in 1950. Got to take back in the 70s. She was my favorite one out of the two. Back in the 70s. But then, things change. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? Nick Drake, born in 1948. Who else celebrating birthdays today? Ellen McFarlane from the 60s Sunshine pop band Spanky and Our Gang. Sounded fun, so I just read it. Born in 1942. Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're talking real talent. Show and tell. It's the game we play. Al Wilson, baby. Born in 1939. The Snake. We lost him, by the way, in 2008 to kidney failure at the age of 68. Show me and tell me that you feel the same way too. Tommy DeVito from the Four Seasons, born in 1928. All right. That is it for musicians. Now we move over to famous people. Also born on, well, there could be musicians here on this list. You never know. Remember, if I don't give you an age on this list, that means they are no longer with us, unfortunately. Musician Guy Lombardo, born in 1902. Baseball Hall of Fame member Lou Gehrig, born in 1903. Actor Nancy Marchand, born in 28. Actress Gina Rowlands, born in 1930. Writer Samal Rushdie, born in 47. He is 79. Actress Felicia Richard, born in 48. She's 78. Early days of Cosby. Felicia. Let's see what else. Musician Larry Dunn of Earth, Wind, and Fire, born in 53. He's 73. Actress Kathleen Turner, born in 54. She's 72. Actress Mia Sara, or Sarah, that is, Mia Sara, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, born in 67. She's 59. TV personality Laura Spencer, born in 69. She's 57. Actress Robin Tunney, born in 72. She's 54. Basketball Hall of Fame member Dirk Nowitzki, born in 78. He's 48. Actress Zoe Saldana, born in 78. She's 48. Actor Giacomo Giannetti, born in 89, 37. And that is famous people born on June 19th. Now, we move over to what happened today in music history. Let's start off in 1980. Donna Summer became the first act to be signed by David Geffen to his new Geffen Records label. In 81, Susie and the Banshees released their fourth studio album, Juju. It features Spellbound and Arabian Nights. In 2001, Gorillaz released their self-titled debut album in the U.S. It was released March 26th in the U.K. In 2001, D12 released their debut album, Devil's Night, and it features Purple Pills. In 2001, Stone Temple Pilots released their fifth studio album, Shangri-La, Dee-Dee-Da, Days of the Week, and Hollywood Bitch were released as singles. In 2012, Fiona Apple released her fourth studio album, The Idle Wheeler is Wiser Than the Driver of the Screw, and the whipping cords will serve you more than ropes will ever do. Okay. It features a single every single night. Let's see who else. In 2016, artists including Taylor Swift, Maroon 5, Pearl Jam, U2, Paul McCartney called for an online copyright laws to be reformed. More than 180 artists signed an open letter criticizing the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA. They claim that the law benefited companies that exploit music for their financial enrichment, but not the artist. So typical. Let's see if there's any birthdays that weren't on the other list here. No. That's what happened today in music history. Doesn't matter what the Heat do. It's too late on the game. It's too late in the game. Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, now it's just about making a move to be somewhat relevant. But I agree. The move to really turn the team around, that window came and went. Unfortunately. Yeah. I agree. Sucks, man. Sucks. The good thing is we've had an amazing run with Pat Riley and the Arisons. And like I've told you before, when these things happen, enjoy them, embrace them, because they probably will not happen again. And we have been waiting for the Dolphins to come around. And will they ever do what they did in those 3 years? Probably never again. Maybe they can get to a Super Bowl again, maybe win one. But they're not going to do where they went to three straight Super Bowls and won 2 of them. They're probably not doing that ever again. The Canes winning 4 titles in like 8 years or whatever it was, 83 to 91? That will never happen again. That just will never happen again. The Heat, the run they had, especially with the big 3, probably never happen again. What's going on with the Panthers? Probably never happen again. Those are just one-in-a-lifetime things. And most of us will be gone. If it could ever happen again, it'll be in some other lifetime. But it won't be in ours. In ours, from my history, it happens. I'm 60. I'll be 60 in a few months. Once in your lifetime. So when it does happen, oh, wow. Embrace it. Enjoy it. That's why I'm hoping the Panthers can come back and, give us another sweet run, because you just don't know how long these beautiful moments last in sports. You just don't know. It's crazy. Let's see. 14 million to paint a reflecting pool surface blue, only to have it peel up and grow algae. Hey, listen, Andrew, what is wrong with you, bro? What kind of a jerk are you? Don't you know what MAGA stands for? Make algae great again, dude. What's wrong with you? This was the plan all along, Andrew. Jesus, man. Damn, Andrew. Don't you understand that? The idea is to make algae great again. We should block Andrew, right? We should block him. Well, you know what we're going to do, Andrew? What's wrong with you, bro? Huh? I mean, is Andrew not a blind ass fan there? The guy couldn't read it. Guy couldn't figure it out. That Diaper Donnie was trying to make algae great again. Jesus, Andrew, you're slow, bro. What's wrong with you? It's all about making algae great again. And they've done it. Now they're making paint great again, too. They expected him to drain the swamp. He can't even clean a pool. Just think about that. He's going to drain the swamp. Bitch can't clean a pool. Anyway, I saw the mayor from Jaws, and he said that the reflecting pool is open and everybody's having a good time. So it's all good. I saw that on the internet. I just want one Super Bowl before I die. So do I, Dolphin Dave. So do I. Yep. I'm with you. Let's see. Big O, I gave him a victory cigar. Damn it.
Blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
But wait a minute. No. The victory cigar was a proper thing to do because he was successful. Right? He made algae great again. It's all over the pool. It's more pronounced than ever. So let's give Double Diaper Donnie. Yeah, let's do that for Double Diaper Donnie. Let's give him a victory cigar. He wanted to make algae great again, and he did. So my Freudian slip was actually proper. What can I tell you? Sometimes we do things and, but I am disappointed in you and Andrew. You didn't pick up on making algae great again. I'm telling you. So, let's see what else. By the way, you do really know that June 19th is important for us in U.S. history. Yes, of course I do. Of course I do. Of course I do. Yes. All right. What else do we have going on? Markets are closed today, unfortunately. So we can't find out what's going on because the markets will be in shock with everything else going on. Since unfortunately, it looks like the bogus ceasefire is over. Oh man. What can I tell you? All right, folks, we're out of here. We appreciate all of you as always. Thank you as always for tuning in and dealing with the silliness and screwing up and everything else. We shall see you on Monday morning. Appreciate all of you out there that hit the like button. Those of you that made a donation, thank you, thank you, thank you. We shall see you on Monday. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.